Today we learn in the Chumash Parshat Vayetze. Vayetze Yaakov mi Beersheva vayelech Harana. All right, so Yaakov, now let's talk about Yaakov's dream. Yaakov has this dream. And there's some very interesting commentaries about what this dream is. Okay, so let's just go back 2 sentences and see what's happening here. Let's put it in the proper perspective. That Yaakov went from Beersheva, vayelech Harana. Now, why did he go? Why did he leave Beersheva, by the way? Because he stole, so to speak, the blessings that Yitzchak wanted to give to Esav. He stole them. His mother arranged it. So he stole these blessings. And Esav said, I'm going to kill him. And an angel, a Ruach HaKodesh, whatever, told his mother, and she said, you better run away. Go to the house of my brother in Haran, Lavan. Lavan was the brother of Rivka. So Yaakov has to run, Vayetze Yaakov mi Beersheva. So Yaakov has to leave Beersheva. That's where he was. That's where he received the blessings. It was in the Holy Land. And he leaves the Holy Land and he goes to Haran. Now he hasn't left yet. He's on his way out. Vayivga b'makom, and he reached this place. It doesn't say, Rashi says, it doesn't say what place. What is it? But what is this place? It's the place that's mentioned somewhere else. Har Moriah, the Mount Moriah, which is Vayar et Makom Merachok. This is Mar Moriah, the mountain of Moriah. This was the place where Abraham took him to sacrifice him. This is where the Akedah was. And this is the place where the Beit HaMikdash will be built. Another, whatever it is, 400 something years in the future will be built. So he comes to this place, which is the Holy Temple. And he says, what does he do when he gets there? Vayachalom, he goes to sleep. He goes to sleep. And what does he see? He sees a sulam. He sees a ladder, Mutzav Arza, standing on the ground. And interestingly, it does not say it is standing Mutzav Bo'oretz, on the ground. It says Arza means in the direction of the ground. In other words, the ladder is going down, 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 down. And the top of this ladder goes Hashemayma, toward the heavens, up, up, up. V'hine, behold, Malachei Elokim, the angels of God, Olim v'yordim bo, they go up and they come down. Now, usually angels have to come down first, and then after that they can come up. These angels started from below and they went up. We're going to go back to the sentence. Let's just go a little further, so we'll put it in the proper context. V'hinei Hashem nitzav alav, and God is standing on him. In other words, God is standing like over this whole ladder and the angels and everything. And God says, Ani Hashem Elokei Avraham, I am God, the God of Abraham, your father. Your grandfather, actually. Ve'elokei Yitzchak, and the God of Yitzchak. The land that you are laying on it, I am going to give it to you and to your offspring. God promises him the land of Israel. We'll do a couple more and then we'll go back to this dream. And your seed will be like the dirt of the earth. Ufaratztan, you will spread out, Yom of a Kedma of a Tzafon of a Negva. You will spread out to the south, to the east, to the north, to the to the west, to the east, to the north, to the south. Yama means in the direction of the sea. Yamam is the sea. In Israel, the direction of the sea, that's to the west. Kedma, that means forward. Forward, that's the east. And Safona Benegba. Benivruchu b'cha, and there will be blessed in you all of the families of the earth and your seed. This is still God talking to him, right? And I will be with you, I'll watch you. This is what we learned in the morning. I will be with you, I'll watch you everywhere you go, and I will return you to this land because I'll never leave you until I've done what I told you I would do. And Yaakov wakes up, Yaakov from his sleep, and he says, God must be in this place, and I didn't know. And he finally says, he was very afraid, and he said, how awesome is this place? This is the house of God, and this is the gate to heaven. All right, all these things are very, very interesting, but let's just go back to the dream that he had. Let's see a couple of the explanations of what this dream is. Bayachalom. So he went to sleep, and he saw a ladder, and the ladder is standing on the ground. The head of the ladder reaches to the heavens, and there's angels going up and down. And then the next sentence it says, then God is standing over him. Let's see Rashi. Rashi says very simply, there were angels that were going up and going down this ladder. The ladder went up into heaven, standing on the ground, going up to heaven, and the angels going up and down. So, of course, he took notice. Olim Techila, the angels went up first, and afterwards they came back down. What type of a thing is this? Malachim, angels, Shilivu Beretz, that accompanied him in the land of Israel. They're special Eretz Israel angels. We'll see when he comes back in the end, next week's Torah portion, that there's going to be the angels are going to, from outside of Israel, are going to leave him, and the ones from Israel are going to meet him. So the angels of the land of Israel are special angels, and they only appear in the land of Israel. But although they went up to the heavens, the Yordu, and who came down, new angels from outside of of Israel, to accompany him. Let's look a little bit at the Even Ezra. We won't do the end of it. Sulam means a ladder. We're going to see this is also in Yalkut Shimoni in the end. A ladder is also semel. The land is a semel. It's a sign. Sulam is semel, same letters. Is a sign, or it is also the same gematria as Sinai, Mount Sinai. This is all a drush. Rav Shlomo Sfardi said that Sulam is talking about the soul. The angels are thoughts of God coming from your soul into you. Rabbi Yeshua said that the Sulam is prayer. And the prayer goes up and comes down, salvations from heaven. Okay, very nice. Let's look at the Ramban. The Ramban says like this, Hine Sulam, this ladder that's standing on the earth, and the head is reaching the head of heavens, and the angels are going up and coming down. God showed him, b'chalom, in a dream, a nevuah of prophecy. Kikol anaseh ba'aretz, that everything, what did God show him? Everything that happens down here, naseh al yedei malachim, it all happens by means of angels. V'hakol b'gazeret elyon aleim, and everything is done by the decree of God. Ki malachei Elokim, because the angels of God, Asher Shalach Hashem, that God sends to go on the earth, Lo Yasir Katana, they can't do anything until Shuvam, until they go back up and get permission from God. Adon Kol Oretz. And they say for him, in front of God, Yisalach no Boretz, the angels say, we're down here, and Yoshevet B'Shalva, the world is okay, or there's war down here, and etc. The angels are something like in a human being, your nervous system, right? Your nervous system. You don't have to look down to your feet to see what's going on in your feet. Issues. Your nervous system sends up messages and says, so God is one. It's not that there's God and then there's these angels and then there's, it's just like a person is one. It's not there's the person and also the nervous system and the nervous system. So the way that God works is a system. And God commanded them to go back down to the earth and do what he says. Also, God showed him that God is standing. This is the Ramban, right? God is standing on the ladder. And he promised Yaakov with a big promise, Lodia, to let him know that Yaakov will not be under the control in any way of these angels. But everything will be directly from God. And God will be with him all the time. Like it says, I will be with you and I will protect you. Why did God have to send angels outside of Israel? It says outside of Israel, right? Well, that's Rashi's interpretation. It could be maybe the Ramban does not agree with him. And maybe the outside of Israel, he won't be with angels. He'll be only with God. Or it could be that God will send the angels outside just to do things in a normal way. But he has to know, just like a person, if he wants to make money, so he has to open up a business. But really, it's God giving him the money. In any case, God is saying to Yaakov, you're not going to be like everybody else. I'm going to be totally with you. Because the highness, the greatness of Yaakov was greater than other holy people. About the other holy people, it says, that God said, I will command my angels to protect you. Al-Dad Rabbi Eliezer Gadol, this is the Ramban, right? We're still learning the Ramban. Rabbi Eliezer Gadol, Rabbi Eliezer ben Hyrcanus. This is the Pirkei de Rabbi Eliezer. Hayata Zot Amar. This was a vision, just like the vision that Abraham had, Bein HaBatorim. Remember we had that? Bein HaBatorim, what is that? Parshas Lech Lecha? That God appeared to Abraham and told him to split the animals in two, and then he showed him the future exiles that the Jews are going to be in. That the bird corresponded to the Jews, and the oxen corresponded to this. That God again showed Abraham the four kingdoms, umalatam b'yiridatam, and how they went up and they came down. By the way, there's a very interesting person, I forgot his name. It seems that he's a Chassid Chabad, and he is making all these predictions, and he repeats over and over that he's not a prophet or anything like that, but he just has these sort of intuitions, and he could be wrong. But up to now, he hasn't been wrong, and it's very nice, actually. I forget what his name is, but in any case, he makes all these predictions. There's also this vision of Daniel. We're going to get to it now, about the Daniel saw this big vision, and he saw the Nebuchadnezzar saw the vision, whatever it was, and he saw this big statue with the four faces and for this. Anyway, it's very exact over there, what Daniel says. It's very exact. You can't understand any of it. All these details, and it's just completely. So Rashi has a beautiful explanation, and he says that this is exactly what's happening now. That this is what's happening now, but the whole world is against Israel, and the whole world is against Trump, and that there's all this iniquity going on and falseness. Trump is, anyway, take it for what it's worth, but for sure something incredible is going on now, right? And it's all in the hands of God. We see that the Jews are, they're being threatened, and there'll be this in the United Nations, and absolutely nothing happens to the Jews. Absolutely nothing. And that's what he's saying over here. That there's all these different kingdoms, and they're all hacking each other and screaming at each other and yelling at each other and tricking each other and threatening each other. And the Jews, that's all the angels messing around. And meanwhile, the Jews, they are being protected by God alone. That's Yaakov, Israel. So this is what Rabbi Eliezer Gadol, he says that this is explanation of what it says in Daniel. These angels that came down, this is what it says, the Sar Malchus Yovan, that there was the angel that was appointed over Greece, and there was the angel that was appointed over Pras, over Persia. V'ivticho, and he was promised that he would yitaleh yiyeh imo b'kol asher yelech beineim. And God promised him that you don't have to worry about. God said, I'm going to be with you no matter what happens, and I'll protect you, and I'll save you from them. That's what it says in Pirkei de Rabbi Eliezer. Look at this. It says God showed him these 4 kingships. Mushlach va'avdan. Moshlan, that they're ruling and they get destroyed. Har-eusar malchus Bavel. First of all, the kingship of Babylon. Ola shivim ukin. I don't know what ukin means. Maybe it means steps, or maybe it means some units of whatever it is. Anyway, it goes up 70 units, and it goes up and it comes down. Then it showed him the angel of Madai. Madai is, I don't know, Greece, or maybe it's Persia. Anyway, they also go up and they fall. Then he showed him the Malchus of Yavin. Yavin, I guess this is Persia and this is Greece. That comes up and it comes back down. Then he finally showed him Edom. That's the final one. That's the one we're in now. It goes up, but it doesn't come down. Yaakov said, Ach, El Sholtared, aren't they supposed to go down to Gehel? And says, if they lift themselves up like an eagle, if they try to make trouble for you, then I'll bring them down. If not, let's just jump. I want to jump over here. Let's do Malchut Shmoni, and we'll see if we can go back. This is so very interesting. The Kli Yakar, how the Kli Yakar says, and also the Malbim. Listen, maybe we can do the Malbim first. The Malbim is explaining how the prophecy of Yaakov was not to the level of the prophecy of Moshe. That's what he wants to show. How the prophecy, it wasn't as okay, that's what he wants to prove. Let's just look down here. This is very interesting. Yalkut Shimoni, a midrash. Yaakov went to sleep, and it was a sulam. Sulam, Tana, we learned. How wide was this sulam, this ladder? It was 8,000 parsas. 8,000 parsas, I guess 8,000 miles, or maybe it was twice as the 16,000 miles. 16,000. All in Yorebo. Anyway, he proves it. And God was standing over him. It says Rabbi Yeshaya, if it wasn't Ketuv, it would be impossible to understand. A person, God is standing over him. God is his feet, he said. So he said he went to sleep. This is the part I wanted to get to. Really, I wanted to get to really this end part. It's very interesting. So, Vayachalom, he went to sleep. Zel chalom shel Nebuchadnezzar. Which dream was it? It was the dream of Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar had this dream with Daniel, right? Nebuchadnezzar, he has this dream with Daniel, and he says, can you interpret my dream? And Daniel says, okay, what is it? He said, yeah, tell me what the dream was also. And he also brought all of his advisors over there. Nebuchadnezzar advised me all of what's going on. Right? It was Nebuchadnezzar, wasn't it? In any case, he interprets the dream. Hine Sulam, here's the dream. This is the Salmu Shel Nebuchadnezzar. The dream, this is the statue of Nebuchadnezzar. This is the Sulam. This is the Sulam. Who's Semel? Sulam is a ladder. It's also a sign. Atya Didan, the letters of this one, of Sulam, are the same letters as this. Mutz of Arta, standing on the ground. Akima Babika Dura. This was in the valley of Dura. Valley of Dura, this is where the Yechezkel saw the bones of the coming back to life. Varosha Magia Shemaima, and the head reaches to heavens. This is Rome. Amin Shisin. It says it'll be, 60 amas. Hine Malachi Elokim, the angels of God. This is, who are the angels of God? Hananiah, Mishael, Azariah. That's Daniel's friends. Olim Biorimbo, they Moridimbo, Opsimbo, Kovzimbo, Soltimbo, I guess they were thrown into the fiery furnace, and they lived there, and they existed there. Ulatzalam dahava di hakima lo sagnin. But to this statue of Nebuchadnezzar, they refused to bow down. Hine Hashem nitzav alav, and God is standing on over them. Who is this? This is the God of Avdui di Eloka, Allah puku v'asu. The servants of God, they went out. They went out of the fiery furnace. That's one meaning, that he foresaw this amazing miracle that was going to happen. It says the angels of God go up and down. Who are the angels of God? This is Daniel. That's another meaning. They go up and they down. It goes up and down. That he sha'ala v'hotzi bal'o mitoch piv, that he took what I guess holiness from his mouth, and he was standing on. Daniel was serving only God. If you know the story over there, that Daniel and his friends refused to bow down to this big statue that Nebuchadnezzar had made. He was ruling over the whole world, and so because of that, they got thrown into a fiery furnace, and Daniel eventually got thrown into with the lions, and they all came out okay. Okay, here we go. Let's do this one. God said, no, don't be afraid, Yaakov, and don't be in any trepidation, Yisrael. Yaakov says, this what it was the dream. These are the nations of the world. Malamed, this God showed Yaakov, the angel of Bavel, go up 70, over there it said Ukin, here it says is Chavkim. Anyway, Babylon once ruled over the whole world. They ruled over the whole world. He went up really high, and then no Babylonians around today. You can't find any. After that, Madai, that was Persia. They went up 52 levels. Then Greece, they went up 180 levels. What this means, I don't know what the different levels. And finally, there was Edom. Edom went up, we don't know how many. At that time, Yaakov was very afraid. He said, maybe all these are going to go up and they're never going to come down. They're going to raise up and they'll rule over the whole world, and that's it. The Jews are finished. God said, don't be afraid. Even just as you see them by me very high, I'm going to bring them all down. How do you see? That's what it says. If you lift yourself up like an eagle from then, or sit between the stars of the heaven, I'm going to bring you down, says God. Last one. Rav Brichia said in the name of Rav Meir, this God showed to Avram Avinu the Sar, the angel, the ministering angel of Babylon, go up and come down. Of Greece, go up and come down. Of Edom, go up and come down. God said to Yaakov, Yaakov, also you go up. You go up, be high, you'll rule the world, everybody will know about God. And Yaakov got afraid. And he said, listen, maybe the same way as like these others, they went up and they came down. Gamani, also I'll go up and come down. God said, don't be afraid, Yaakov. Don't be afraid, Yisrael. If you go up, right, take the leadership, I'll never bring you down. But Abraham, it says he was afraid. Yaakov was afraid he was going to be all alone. Said Abraham that Yaakov missed the point and he didn't believe in God's. This is all in his dream, right? And that God is showing him. This is Yaakov Avinu, that he didn't believe and he didn't go up. God said, if you would have believed in me and you would have gone up to the heights and be willing to be the ruler of the world, and then you would never come down forever. The world would be a wonderful place, filled with meaning, everybody believing, but you were afraid. Now you didn't believe, then your children will be servants in these 4 kingdoms that I just showed you. They'll have to give taxes and etc. You might think forever, maybe forever. It says, don't worry, Yaakov, Yisrael, I'll be with you and I will save you. I'll bring your seed, your people from far away, and Shav Yaakov Bavel, that it says that Yaakov will come back from Bavel, V'shaket, from Madai, V'shanan, V'yoven, V'al Macharid, V'ein Macharid, and don't be afraid. This is from Edom. In other words, in this vision that he showed him of the ladder going up, God showed Yaakov all of the future history of the Jewish people and how they would be subservient to all these other strange nations in the world. I mean, you have to think about it just for a moment. Here, we Jewish people have been, since the destruction of the Second Temple was almost 2,000 years. And since that time, we haven't had our own country, and we've been wandering around the whole world, and we didn't have our own army, and we didn't have our own, government or stamp or anything like that. All we had to hold us together was the Torah. And the Jews that left the Torah, just, miraculously, they married Jews, and they have some idea that they're Jewish, so their children held on. And a lot of them made a very big concerned effort to leave Judaism as much as possible. It wasn't that they were afraid of the nations or something. They just didn't want any part of it anymore. And nevertheless, after all of this, against all of the laws of history and nature and psychiatry and sociology and anthropology and everything, all of the laws of all the books that have ever written, totally unexplainable, the Jews have still held on to their identity. And they're hated to this very day because of it. And here we are, we're holding on to our identity. And not only that, our true identity is supposed to be of Abraham, that we are supposed to conquer the whole entire world. What? With knowledge, to let everybody know that there's a God, there's a creator. And here we are. We're still in the world and we still have our message. And that's the idea of Mashiach. Mashiach will bring it. So that's the whole, essentially only Chabad really is, really outspoken about this or has any sort of a concerted effort to bring all of the world to realize Mashiach. But here's the prophecy. Here it is. Here's the prophecy. Yaakov saw it, and he saw that all the other nations would fall, and that eventually that they would all become transformed. So good news. It's going to, God willing, it's happening now. Here we are. Here we are. How we merited to see it, I don't know. But on the other hand, we are incarnations of previous levels. We are just Gilgulim. So we have the merits of all these previous generations also we're standing on them. Okay, let's learn a little bit of the Shulchan Aruch. Okay. Let's learn a little bit of the Shulchan Aruch of the Alter Rebbe. Let's learn 20 minutes or so. No, I got the wrong one. I think we'll finish this. We did this. We did this also. You're not supposed to take laxatives on Shabbos. Do you remember we learned this last time? Here we go. Okay. So again, we said in the laws of Shabbat that you're not supposed to do anything on Shabbat for that even indicates that you're healing if the person is not bedridden, or his whole body hurts him, or there's some danger to a limb. A person that just has a certain ordinary pain and he's very uncomfortable, but it doesn't really affect his whole body, certainly not bedridden, then technically you're not supposed to really do anything for him that looks like healing. So here we have an example of this person, a person that has an ache in his eye, and it's certainly not life-threatening or even threatening to the limb, or it doesn't make him bedridden, and it's not doesn't even incapacitate him, but it's just it's uncomfortable. Well, a person like that, you're not supposed to do anything that looks like healing. Even take aspirin, according to some opinions. All these laws, again, you have to ask a rabbi. Don't make decisions on your own. You have to ask a rabbi, a poskim rabbi. I am not a poskim rabbi. People don't come to me, ask me questions, day to day. Notnim kli, you can put a vessel on your eye in order to cool it off. And it has to be some sort of a vessel that you could carry it for no reason. You could carry it. I'm sorry, not a vessel you can carry it for no reason. A vessel that you can carry for a reason. There's an argument between the Alter Rebbe and the Mishna Brura. The Mishna Brura says that vessels like a cup or a spoon or something like that it's the same law as food. Do you remember we learned? Do you remember that we learned the laws of muktzah? I guess you weren't here, were you, Yochanan, when we learned laws of muktzah? The laws of muktzah, just in a very short way, there are only two categories that muktzah does not apply at all. Muktzah means that you're not allowed to move certain things with your hands. That's what muktzah is. Certain things you're not allowed to move with your hands. If you see $1 bill, $100 bill, or $1,000 bill, or whatever, in the middle of your house, and you're afraid somebody's going to take it, you cannot move it with your hands. Money is muktzah. You can move it with your teeth, with your feet, but you can't move it with your hands. So you're not allowed to move with your hands. But there are two things that you can touch with your hands for absolutely no reason at all. And that is food and books, holy books. You can move them for no reason at all. So if you have a vessel, that can be used, like a plate or something like that, according to the Mishnah Brura, it's like food, and therefore you can move it for no reason at all. According to the Alter Rebbe, it is not like food. It's like a vessel that you can use for self, like clothes, that you can move them to save the vessel or whatever. In any case, if you have a vessel that you can use, it's permissible to carry. In other words, you can't put like your computer on the eye or something, or your cellular phone. That's a thing you're not allowed to move on Shabbos, but totally muktzah. So a person that has a pain in his eye, he can take one of these vessels, let's say a spoon or something like that, and he can put it in his eye, over his eye, so it cools it off. Then it's the same thing that you can do. A person that it hurts that he has a pain in his eyes, shemakifim oto b'tabat, kadei shelo yispashet hanafach, that you can put a ring around his eye so that it doesn't continue to swell up. It doesn't look like you're healing. You won't mistake this and come to, the rabbis made a decree that you can't do things that look like healing, because maybe you'll come to crush up spices on Shabbat. So here it doesn't look like that, and you're allowed to do it. Okay, what about on Shabbat, a person dislocated a bone, a dislocated joint? It's forbidden to put it back because it looks like you're building. And also, in addition to the fact, you're not allowed to heal. If a bone becomes disjointed and there's no danger whatsoever to the limb, right? Usually the way it is that if a person dislocates his shoulder or dislocates, if you tie the arm to a person's body so he can't move it, it doesn't hurt him anymore. So therefore it's forbidden to manipulate it so you put it back in the socket. Even even to rub it with cold water, it's forbidden, like we said before. 1 second. Oh, I didn't share this, did I? Oh, I'm sorry. 1 second. Oh, there it is. Sorry. But a bone that got broken, that you can reset it on Shabbat. Because if you don't reset it, then there could be a danger to that limb. And we said that if there's a danger to a limb, and there is no decree about looking bad because you're healing. In fact, if it's a danger to a limb, you can even openly transgress anything from the rabbis, including especially telling a non-Jew to do something from the Torah, you could do. So a dislocated limb, you're not supposed to do anything. But a broken limb, you can. It is forbidden to put a garment on a wound in order to absorb from it blood. Why not? Because blood will color the garment. And even though that you're really wrecking the garment, Mikol Makom, nevertheless, it is forbidden from Divrei Sofrim. The rabbis say you should not do anything that will color a garment. So the same thing, let's say you're eating beets, right? You shouldn't wipe your mouth off if it'll color the garment. If you wipe your mouth off with a paper napkin or something, then it's okay. Says the Rebbe, this is especially with a red garment, because a red garment, you want it to be more red. So blood makes it more red. Same thing if you're eating beets or something, you wipe your mouth off with a red garment, oh, that's not good. It's better in this case, if so, to take a white garment. So you might say, well, listen, maybe let's just take away the blood from the wound. Says you can't do that because that's drawing blood, and you're not allowed to do that, like we learned before. We didn't learn it, but what should you do? You tie on it what's called kori akavish. Where are you going to get this from? Who knows? But you tie on it a spider webs, and you cover the blood and all of the wound. And then afterwards, you can put on it some sort of a rag. Okay. It seems a little bit far-fetched, and there's some rabbis that agree it's far-fetched a little bit. Yesh mafakfikim. So some people say, what type of a... Some people say even more, that it should be forbidden to even tie spider webs on the... Somebody told me that they used to have that he had a barn or something like that, and there was spider webs, and they used to actually collect the spider webs, and they used to use it for healing. That's what I remember. When a pupil once told us. So what should you do? Some people say you shouldn't put spider webs on it. Wash it with water or wine or something in the first to take away the blood. It looks like you're washing, and then afterwards put on a rag. And it's good to worry for their words not to use a something that heals, like the spider webs. But the main thing is like the first opinion that you can use something that heals. And that's usually what people do. You take a Band-Aid. Now they have Band-Aids and you can put it on. And the Band-Aid usually has on it something that just is there just so the Band-Aid won't stick and it doesn't heal so much. So that usually they say it's okay to do. It's okay to do. But this idea of using a white, of not coloring a red garment, I've never seen anybody careful with this. Maybe you're supposed to, but I've never personally seen such a thing. People that are careful not to wipe off their mouth if they ate beets with a red garment. Here it says the red, really with any garment, you're not supposed to do it because it's coloring. You're not supposed to color. You totally have no desire to make it colored, but nevertheless, you should watch out if possible. Use paper napkins. It is forbidden to suck with your mouth blood from a wound, because drawing blood out from a wound, this is called chovel. This is called it's like causing the wound. What about Brit Milah? Now, if you know, in a Brit Milah, one of the essential parts of the Brit Milah is what's called the mitzitza. In other words, they're supposed to draw the blood. After the Brit Milah, is the moil, he draws the blood out of the place where he just took off the orla. The only reason they permitted it is because it says it's dangerous not to draw out the blood. Therefore, it's forbidden on Shabbat to draw out the blood between your teeth. Even though that it's called like squeezing or mafarik, separating in an unusual way, nevertheless, it's forbidden for the rabbi. So if you have blood on your teeth, you're not supposed to. Some people say that's why you're not supposed to brush your teeth on Shabbat unless you're sure that it won't draw any blood, because it's drawing out blood and you're not allowed to do it. It's forbidden to put on a wound something which draws out blood or pus. Again, for the same reason, it's like squeezing, it's like mafarek. It's not exactly squeezing, it's called separating. Even though even though that it comes out on its own, nevertheless, because you're putting this garment on it in order to draw out the blood, this is something like making a wound and drawing out with your hands. So you're not supposed to do it. And so in other words, don't put any sort of a substance on a wound in order to draw out the pus or to draw out the blood or the bad blood or to make blood. Draw out blood, like you said, to draw out blood from your gums, brush your teeth, bring out blood. You're not allowed to do that on Shabbos, to draw out blood from a wound or to cause blood to come out from a wound. Let's do one more and then we're going to do the Mishnah. Right. It is forbidden to put a piece of wound linen in piyatabat. The piyatabat is the anus, the place where a person goes to the bathroom. As people do, this is what they used to do in any case for constipation. Unless you do it in a very, very calm way, because you have to watch out that you don't damage anything there. Hasharat nimin, because it could be that you'll break some sort of a sinew or a forbidden. But it's also that you can do if you do it very, very calmly and so that you're very, very careful not to break. I've never heard of this healing before. In any case, it's forbidden to do a kristir. You cannot do an enema on Shabbat, even by means of a change, even if it was prepared from yesterday. Why? Because it looks like you're healing. It looks like you're doing a procedure for healing. unless it's a person im lo bechola. Unless a person is sick, and even a sick person, you have to be very careful not to do a malacha of the Torah. And if it's possible to do this enemy by means of a non-Jew, it's better to do it by means of a non-Jew. Okay, so what did we learn over here? We learn that if we're dealing with a person that's constipated, you have to be very careful not, again, something like the similar one, to break any blood vessels in any way. You have to be very calm. But in any case, you cannot do an enema on Shabbat because it looks like you're healing, and that you're not allowed to do. You have to be careful not to come to a malacha gamora. I don't know what malacha gamora they would be doing over here, what type of a transgression you could do with an enema, but that's, in any case, it's forbidden to do on Shabbat, as we will talk about more, God willing, tomorrow. And now let's just do the Mishnah. Couple of minutes of Mishnah here. Avanti, yeah. Excuse me. Ah. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm just looking for. Here it is. All right, we learned before that someone who kills someone by accident, and it's a genuine accident, as he's sentenced to what's called a city of refuge. The city of refuge, he said he has to stay there until the Kohen Gadol dies. And we had in the previous Mishnah different opinions what type of Kohen Gadol. Some Rabbi Yehuda said even a Koach Mashiach Milchama. In any case, let's say here we have some unusual cases. What if a person's case, he killed somebody by accident? Everyone who kills somebody has to run to the cities of refuge, right? So he runs to the city of refuge, then they take him out and they try him. And they decide, was it negligence? Was it an accident? Was it truly out of his control, something that was really a true accident? If it's a really true accident out of his control, then he goes free. If it was negligence, then they release him for the avenger. Somebody in the family can kill him. But if it was negligence right in the middle, had a little bit of negligence, but very little, there was just an accident. So a person like this, right, he should have watched out a little bit, but it was really something out of his control. And then that person has to be in a city of refuge. until the Kohen Gadol dies. What happens if he was sentenced and there was no Kohen Gadol? Let's see what can be a case like this. Nigmar did a below in Gadol that the Kohen Gadol died. Sorry. The Kohen Gadol died before they decided the case, and they still didn't pick a new Kohen Gadol. No, and so he was found guilty, and there was no Kohen Gadol. What happens to a person like that? Or what about a person that kills the Kohen Gadol? What if he was climbing up a ladder, right? He was climbing down a ladder or whatever, climbing up a ladder, and he fell down. And they say that it was in between negligence and an accident. Now he has to run to this. Who did he fall on top of and kill? He killed the Kohen Gadol. A person that killed the Kohen Gadol by accident. What about if he was the Kohen Gadol? He was the Kohen Gadol himself. He was the high priest, and he killed somebody by accident. Also is talking about that his law was finished before the new one was picked. All these people, if he was found guilty and there was no Kohen Gadol, or it was the Kohen Gadol himself that killed somebody, or he killed the Kohen Gadol, then in any case, this murder, this accidental murder, Eino Yotzei Misham Le'olam. He has to stay there for the rest of his life. Kolomar, Shagola ve'eino Yotzei Me'ir Miklato Le'olam. In other words, he's exiled and he never leaves. Afilu Mina Achar Kach Kohen Gadol. Even if they picked another Kohen Gadol, it doesn't make any difference. The new Kohen Gadol that's picked, the high priest that's picked, when he dies, it doesn't release this person. Because that when at the time when his fate of the accidental murder was decided, there was no Kohen Gadol, so therefore the death of the new Kohen Gadol doesn't bring forgiveness to this person. Some people say that if someone kills a Kohen Gadol, that even if they do pick a new one, and afterwards his case is decided, his fate is decided by the court, nevertheless, he killed by accident the Kohen Gadol. Some people say that he never leaves. He killed the Kohen Gadol by accident. He doesn't go, call a Gadol and Yotzei Me'ir Miklato. He never is allowed to go out of the city of refuge. Okay, here are some of the people. What does it mean he's never allowed to go out? He can't go out for any reason? No. Let's look and see. He can't go out here. Eino Yotzei Misham Le'olam. He can't go out forever. What does it mean forever? Shene'amar. Oh, sorry. Eino Yotzei Me'olam. He can't go out forever. Eino Yotzei, not to give a testimony for someone that did a commandment or not. He can't go out for testimony, not for money, right? Joe owes Sam $1 million. You don't believe me? Bring Shmerel. Sorry, Shmerel's in the city of refuge. He can't leave. Not also the Edus Nafashos, and also not for even murder, right? Shmerel was one of the two witnesses that saw Yaakov kill Esav, right? So it's too bad. He saw him. He doesn't go out. He can't come out and testify. Afilu Yisrael tzorichim lo. Even if the Jewish people need him. Afilu sar tzava Yisrael kayoav ben Tzuri. Even if they need him to lead the battle. The only one that can save the Jewish people is Shmerel, the accidental murderer. Too bad. Ein yotzei misham lo. He cannot go out of the city of refuge. Shneimar, like it says, Asher nas shama. He has to go there. Shama tieh diraso. There he has to live. Shama tieh masaso. There is where he's going to die. Shama tieh kvuraso. There he will be buried. Okay, now we have interesting. What if the person goes a little bit outside of the city, right? He just gets tired being in the city. He wants to just go out and sit in the sun a little bit outside of the city where there's nobody going to be there. Now, meanwhile, there's lurking around the city. Or there just happens to pass by one of the relatives of this man who was killed accidentally. And the law is that someone that kills someone accidentally, he must stay in the city of refuge. If not, he is free game and fair game for the avenger of the dead person. So what if he does go outside into the boundaries of the city, the outskirts of the city? Just like the city, Coletas, just like the city protects him, also its boundaries protect him. So let's go down and see what this means. What is these boundaries? Okay, just as the city itself protects him, the accidental murderer, it's forbidden for him, for the redeemer, for the avenger, to go inside of the city and kill him. Also, the borders of the city. What are the borders of a city? 2,000 amas around the city. Kolet the Gola. It is forbidden for the avenger, the family member who is permitted to kill the accidental murderer, but he can only kill him if he goes outside of the boundaries of the city. It's forbidden to him, not only when he's in the city is he protected, but even the boundaries of the city can't be killed. Rotzes Yotze, what if a murderer that goes outside of the city? And he also goes outside of the boundaries of the city. Rabbi Yossi clearly says that it is a mitzvah. It is a commandment to kill him. Even if he doesn't want to, he's got a commandment to kill him. It's a commandment, like it says, Umotza oso goel adam, michutz legavul ir miklato, the ratzach goel adam, that he must, that's how he interprets it, Rabbi Yossi, he must kill this accidental murderer. The avenger, there's a family member of the deceased, must kill the accidental murderer if he sees him. Because it says im ratzach, if he killed, but ratzach, it doesn't say if he kills, then he is innocent. It says if he does, it says he should kill him, and then he will be innocent. This implies that it will be a mitzvah. It is a mitzvah for the redeemer to kill him, but reshut l'kol adam, but every person is permitted to kill him. So if you just happen to be walking down the street back then, in those days when people were killed by the redeemer, right? You're just walking with your friends and say, hey, look, isn't that Shmerel that killed Beryl back then? Remember 30 years ago by accident? Yeah. Hey, want to have a good time? Let's kill him. So you can, it's reshut, you're allowed to kill him and you will not be punished. Strange. If you happen to be the relative of the deceased, you must kill him. So says Rabbi Yossi HaGalili. Rabbi Akiva is a little bit more lenient. Rabbi Akiva says that the avenger, the family member that can take revenge on this accidental murder, that it's reshut. He just has the permission to do it if he wants to. He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to kill the accidental murderer if he sees him outside of the boundaries. Goel Adam Rashai, he has the permission to kill him. He doesn't have to kill him. Shari Lokatuv Yirtzach, that he must kill him. It doesn't say in the sentence. It just says Ratzach, that he kills him. This implies if he wants to. And what about everyone else? Kol Adam ein chayavim alav. Anybody else who happens to kill this accidental murderer, if he leaves the city, they are not guilty because of killing him. In other words, they shouldn't kill him. It certainly is not a commandment for them to kill him, and they should not even try to kill him. But if they do kill him for whatever reason it is, then ein lo dam, then they don't get b'diavad, it's called after. But it's forbidden for them to kill him. They should not kill him. They should not. But if they do, they mix up the law, they don't understand, they kill him, then they're not punished. Some people say, kol adam chayavim alav. Some people say that Rabbi Akiva says no, that everyone else is guilty, they're not allowed to kill him. And the law is like Rabbi Akiva. So the law is a little more lenient. So what is the law? What is the law? And finally, in the end, Shmerel killed Beryl by accident. And he was sentenced that he has to go to the city of refuge. And he goes to the city of refuge, and one day he sleepwalks or whatever it is, and he leaves the city, and he goes more than 2,000 amas outside of the city. So the law is like Rabbi Akiva, that the avenger, a family member of the person who was killed, can kill this accidental murderer if he wants to. But everyone else is not allowed to. Not allowed to kill him. And some people say that if they do, that they're punishable. Some people say if they do kill them, let's say they forget the law, then they're not punishable. Mavur b'Gemara, it's explained in the Gemara that it is explained in our Mishnah, it's talking about that he went on purpose, but not like the case that I said that he was sleepwalking. But if he goes out by accident, he thought it was permissible. He made a mistake. He didn't know where the boundary was. If he made a mistake and he went out, then anyone who kills him will be killed. And the reason is, that his end can't be worse than the beginning. Just like in his beginning, if he would kill someone, that he would get killed. And if it was by accident, he would only go into exile. So also the end. In other words, if he left the city on purpose, then it's more severe than if he leaves the city by accident. Ha'elan, a tree that's standing right at the edge of the boundary, this 2,000 amma boundary from the city. Benofo, and the leaves, the branches go outside of the city of refuge. And our accidental murderer decides he wants to sit underneath the branches. He goes out of the boundary, but he's sitting on the branches of the tree whose roots are in the boundary. Is that considered to be going out? And he's fair game for the family member, the avenger, or not? Or what if the tree is outside of the boundary, but its branches go inside of the boundary, and he's sitting under the roots outside? Everything goes after the branches, not the roots. That everything goes after the nof. In other words, whether the roots of the tree are inside of the boundary of the city, in which case he would be safe. Then if the branches go outside, or whether the branches are inside of the boundary, even though the roots are on the outside, this is considered to be that it is inside. And it's forbidden to kill him. According to what they say over here is that if you have a tree that is right at the edge of the boundary, right? What do we say? The accidental murderer is allowed to leave the city, but he cannot leave the boundaries, the outer boundaries of the city. In other words, 2,000 amas outside of 2,000 amas, like 3,000 feet. So 3,000 feet outside of the city, he's allowed to go. What if there's a tree that is right at the edge of this boundary, Either the trunk is inside or the leaves or the branches are inside. So it says, in any case, if either the branches or the leaves are inside of the boundary, then if he's by the tree, then it's okay. Here we have a last case, very strange. What if this accidental murderer that he is sent, he accidentally murders someone in the city where he's in? Again, what do we say? He's going up the tree and he falls down. If he kills somebody by accident in the city, then he is not allowed to leave it, because we said he can't kill anybody. He can't leave because he's already sitting there because of his first accidental murder. Like it says, Be'ir miklato yashev. V'dorshim ir miklato kavar. He's already there. So if he's there, he just has to stay there. What about a Ben Levi? But of a Ben Levi that kills somebody in his city. Now, what do we say? That there are 6 cities of refuge and there's 42 cities of the Levites. What if one of the Levites that lives in one of his cities, he kills someone? This is a city of refuge. It's in his city. It's already there. What he doesn't go into exile. He killed somebody. He says, no, I'm already in exile. I already live over here in the city. He says, no, then he has to leave. He has to go to another city. A Levite, he lives in one of the 42 cities of the Levites that's also considered to be a city of refuge. Then Gola le'ir miklat acher, he goes to another city of refuge. He's permissible to leave his city, let's say me'ir shehu yoshev bo, because Gola le'ir azot, because now he can leave the city where he is, even though it's a city of refuge, but he's going to a different city. So therefore, as we'll talk about more, God willing, tomorrow. Thank you very much. See you at 8:15 in the morning, God willing.